When you look at Sophia Smith and her moment now at a first World Cup, and you see the quality of the goal she scored the other day in NWSL, how do you gauge her level of performance and impact that you hope she hits this summer?
I mean, it's not. I'm not going to say anything new if I say that she's a great player. It's obvious she does well in the league. She's done well for the national team as well, and it's not a surprise for us that Sophia is going to be one of the forwards that will take majority of the load in the front line. But we also have to understand that doing well in this league is great, but it's one thing, and it's totally different doing it at international level or in the World Cup. We do believe that So has the quality to do well in this tournament, and actually we're excited to see how that is going to look.
We got Juliet, and then we'll go to Nancy after that.
Hi, Vlatko. It's Juliet McCurr with the New York Times. I know you just said you had a lot of experienced players on the team who will help these other players transition, but I don't want to take you off the hook or make your job a little easier. So what can you do as a coach to help all these players transition to soccer on the biggest stage?
Obviously, for me, this is the first World Cup, and I have consulted a lot with these players coming in. I'm glad this is not the first major tournament for me, and there were several things that I learned from the Olympics. I went with the men's World Cup just to experience the actual World Cup and the significance of it. And then on the staff, we have people that have been in the World Cup before, people that have won World Cups. I mean, our GM, Kate Margraf, Tiffany Roberts, Sahedek is one of the coaches who's a 99er. Erica Walsh, who's also been in big tournaments. So every one of them, or every moment we try to learn more and prepare, or be as prepared as we can for a tournament like this.
Who's up? I think it's Kevin. Go ahead.
Hey, Vlatko. Welcome to Southern California. You talked in your press conference the other day about Alyssa Thompson. 3 weeks ago, she was in high school. She hadn't played for the national team before September. Yet now she's on your World Cup team. What do you like about her? What was it that put her on this team that you think can help you?
Unpredictability. Like, she's unpredictable. Her creativity on the field, and the things that she does on the field is so hard to track, because you never know what she's going to do. Whether is it going to be a one-on-one, one-on-two, or give and go, or a shot, left foot, right foot. She's very, very hard to track or prepare for, and I think that her creativity, like I said, is very good, and it's something that will fit well with the group of forwards that she's going to have around her.
I think it's Nance. Go ahead.
Hey, Vlatko. Nancy Armour with USA Today. How are you? You mentioned Megan, Alex, and Lindsey, and you said on the call last week that you weren't ready to announce who the captain was. And so I'm wondering if this is an indication of who your captain is, or if you've made that decision, if you're ready to announce it yet.
I have to say the decision has been made, and we were going to talk to the team last night, but not everybody was able to make it on time, because we had players coming from East Coast that got delayed and came late last night. We actually had a player that didn't even make it and is coming in this morning. So I would want to talk to the players first before I announce it publicly. I'm sorry.
So if Aubrey Kingsbury looks tired, you'll know why. Go ahead.
Hey, Vlatko, Sean Gregory from Time. How are you? Could you just discuss the state of Alex Morgan's game, like maybe compared to 2 years ago, coming into the Olympics 2 years ago? What do you see that's different this time around?
So one thing that is different for Alex this year, this time than the Olympics, is she actually had a lot more time to spend with the team. It's hard sometimes for the players to get back into the rhythm or get back in the environment. And I think in some way it wasn't fair for Alex before the Olympics, or we did not have enough time to give her to get back to herself. Where now, I mean, we see that her quality when she's on the field, she's comfortable in the environment. Obviously, she's been in this environment longer than most players. So I think that we're going to see the best of Alex this summer.
Helene, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. Helene Elliott from the LA Times. To go back to the theme of inexperience, Savannah DeMelo hasn't even gotten a cap. Just wondering what your thoughts were in including her on the roster, what you would like to see from her.
I mean, after we decided that Sav is going to be on the team, our thoughts were that this is going to be a good story for Sav. We're hoping that she's gonna do well. She's one of the players that has the ability to eliminate players on the dribble and in a 1v1 setting. And I think that that will be very well. It will be very welcomed on the team against the opponents that we have.
Let's go. Who has the mic? Where's Berenice? Okay, go ahead.
Hi, Vlatko. Greg Eklund from Kansas News Service and NPR. Your players that have played under you have talked about in the past you being very direct with them and sometimes telling them things they don't always want to hear. How far does that go back with you as a coach? Were you miscommunicated once as a player? Or where does that come from with you?
Oh, I don't know how far back it goes, but one thing I do know with the players is we try to create a safe place, a safe environment, especially when we're in our meeting room, and meaning that being direct with the players is being honest with them, and nobody. I mean, they don't take it personally because they believe that. We're doing that to help them out, get better. And when we talk about being honest, being transparent, and communicate with them, it never goes with what they do, what they don't do well. There is always how do we fix this. And I think that's the part that they really appreciate. That they don't look at it as a criticism, but they look at it as an opportunity to get better.
Go ahead.
Hi, Vlatko. Tina Cervasio over here from Fox 5 in New York City. And I want to talk about your New Yorker, Crystal Dunn. I know a lot of people ask about her positioning, how she transitions to defense, but I want to ask you what you see in her mental fortitude and also her soccer IQ that allows her to be so versatile in that situation, you know, where how she could see the field and make those transitions coming from the league to the national team.
Yeah, I mean, Crystal is one of the best players overall in the world, and the fact that she can play midfielder on Sunday and then play left back on Wednesday, that just speaks about her and the quality of the player that she is, and the way we want our players to play or our fullbacks to play. Fullback position is actually the most complex position on the field because in one possession, the same player can find herself in three different lines. So she can be a defender, midfielder, and a forward in within 20 seconds. And it's not the complexity of that position actually is something that doesn't bother Crystal because of her ability to adjust in within seconds, and that's why she's very valuable for us in the position that she's at. But I do not want to exclude the possibility of her being in the middle if that's what we need. One thing that I know in conversation with Crystal, she's always said, "Just tell me what this team need. What do I need to do for this team to be successful?" And we certainly appreciate that.
We're going to go over to this side because we're down to one mic. Who did we have over here? Frank. Yeah, with Frank. Go ahead.
Great, Vlatko. Frank Galapa, Boston Globe. Question with no Becky being available. Do you see any of your defenders, Alana or Naomi, sort of filling her shoes, playing similarly with that sense of anticipation?
I mean, it's hard to match the anticipation or that Becky brings because a lot of the anticipation it is actually experience or gut feeling. Gut feeling is just a accumulation of information from previous experiences, education, knowledge, right? So these players just don't have the experience that Becky has, but they sure have a lot of experience in the position, and they understand the game at the very high level. So we're actually very comfortable with the level. With the ability they have and the level of expertise that they have of the position, and we think that they're going to be able to handle it very well.
Over here in the middle, yeah.
Coach, good morning. Obviously, Sofia Huerta, this is Edward with LA Times en Español. Obviously, Sofia Huerta has a very unique story. Can you talk about how her perseverance and hard work has paid off in the national team?
Yes, we're very happy for us to have Sofia on the team, and she's one of those I would say modern fullbacks that has to change her position 3 times within 20 seconds. Having her on the World Cup roster, we believe that there is going to be a time or situation or an opponent that her abilities are going to fit well for us. But her story is incredible too. I mean, that was a brave move, what she did way back to say, no, I'm going to work hard to achieve this because this is my dream. And to wait so long or to work so hard for so long and to be driven and committed and dedicated to achieve that just speaks about her character, and certainly is a character that we welcome on this team in this environment.
Damien, go ahead.
Hey, Vlatko. Damian Calhoun, LA Daily News. Back to the Alana Cook and Naomi Girma. They've come so far so quick. What kind of growth have you seen over the last, from tournament to tournament, and in those two, and how confident are you going in as your main 2 center backs?
Yes, very confident, actually. And they have grown a lot, and they keep growing. I mean, it's exciting to see them play together. It's exciting to see them on the field, whether it's together or with or paired up with another player. I think that they will get challenged. Obviously, with being in the World Cup tournament, playing against the best opponent in the world, they will get challenged. But we're very comfortable with them and confident that they'll be able to handle it.
We're to go to the front here. Steph and Lakin can fight over them. They can Rochambeau over the mic.
Hey, Vlatko. Lakin Littman with Fox Sports. Follow-up to Nancy's question earlier. I know you are not going to name a captain yet, but Lindsey is coming up here with Megan and Alex, and I'm just curious what kind of conversations maybe you've had with Lindsey about, stepping up as a leader on this team. Obviously, we know that she is a leader and has worn the captain's armband before, but just kind of maybe the added responsibility that she might have this summer.
Yes, the responsibilities for Lindsey are not going to be added this summer. They were added 2 years ago when we went to Australia in November, I believe, of 2021. And ever since, she has grown into the role of a leader and has done a tremendous job. When you look at the group that we have now, Lindsey, Rose, Crystal, I mean, that's the next generation of leaders in this environment, because all the other ones are a lot younger, less experienced. So these players had a couple of years to prepare for this tournament, but also to have players like Pino and Alex and Kelly is just helpful, because they help the leaders lead the rest of the group.
Stephanie Epstein from Sports Illustrated. What do you see as Megan Rapinoe's role during this tournament?
Being a leader. She will, first and foremost, the thing with Pino is when she's on the field, She's a great player. So that's why that's the first reason why she's on this team. Unfortunately, she got injured in the last game, but the game before that, we saw what she can bring to this team. She's one of the most creative players that I've ever seen, and a true winner. I mean, she's certainly a great player, and that's why we want her on the team. But also her experience and leadership is what this team needs as well. So she will have a role of a player, leader, and leading the leaders as well.
I think, no, Annie? All right, we'll go back there.
Hi, Nicole Beckelman, CGTV. Off the pitch, the U.S. team has led global efforts in terms of equal pay and equality. Can you talk about your thoughts on that and the importance of it?
I mean, obviously, this team has pushed the standards to different level, and one of the reasons why we have seen this competition, what we say, getting closer, getting at the point that we're at, is because of what this team has done off the field. Push for better resources, for more resources, for support, logistical support, not just in this country, but all over the globe. And in some ways, they have pushed this game at a different level. Excited about it, and very thankful for everything they've done.
Go ahead.
Hi, Vlatko. Nancy Chen from CBS News right over here. Hello, hi. So much of a team's success is about their strength together, their bond together, their chemistry together. How do you create that in a shortened time frame, and how important is that to you?
It is extremely important, especially going in big tournaments. And when you look at the national team as a unit, as an environment, it's a very complex environment because our team, we literally had players that played the night before against each other, and they traveled all day to come together, and now all of a sudden they have to be on the same team to compete against the best of the world. So it's a complex environment, but their ability, or the ability that these players have to switch in within minutes to understand that this was in the club environment. Now we're going to do this together is incredible, and I'm very thankful for the group of players that we have, and the understanding of how important it is that once we come in this environment, we're all here for only one reason: to make the team successful, and everybody puts the personal agenda or plans on the side. They do that very well and adjust very well.
All right, last couple for Vlatko. Do we have any more? We're over here. Sorry, wait for the mic. Oh, we're back at
Check,
two.
check, 1, 2.
Yeah.
Good morning, Coach. Buenos dias. Rico Cabrera, East LA Sports Scene. Can you just kind of, my question really centers on the preparation and the grouping and your vision and your expectation of being in the group, and just size it up for us and kind of let us go through how you're thinking now.
Our group at the World Cup.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's obvious one of the hardest groups, if not the hardest group in the World Cup. We have three teams that are very good teams. All three different types of teams, and in some ways different philosophy or style of play, which made it a little bit harder for us in the preparation for the group play, because we had to dissect three different styles, but also have three different approaches. But we think that we have enough time to prepare for them. We think that we have enough time to get ready for every single one of them separately. And the ultimate goal is winning the group. Actually, the goal is to win the group before we move to the ultimate goal.
I think PK had one, yeah?
Thank you. Paul Kennedy of Soccer America. Vlatko, could you speak a little bit about your goalkeepers, their form this year, and will you stick with one goalkeeper or rotate them as you've sometimes done in the past? Thanks.
Yes, I think that we've always had a good group of goalkeepers, and even now, when you look at Alyssa, Casey, and Aubrey, they're the quality of the goalkeeper is something that we're very very comfortable with or feel good about. And going into the World Cup, we're probably not going to see rotation as we've seen in maybe a CONCACAF or She Believes or any smaller tournament or friendly games, because we're going to have to keep the rhythm of our number one and keep them engaged throughout the whole tournament. With I would just add to it that there may be a chance for to see another goalkeeper at least one of the game, just so we can have someone ready for the worst case scenario, which we saw in the Olympics when we had to bring AD for Alyssa without any experience in the previous games.
Juliet, well, hold on. Juliet already got one, though. Yeah. Let's go with someone who hasn't asked one in the back there. Yeah. I'm sure it was a good question. Yeah. Yeah.
Hi there, Shakir Saman, Apple News. You know, you talked a lot about the challenges your team will face, and there's no easy games at a World Cup. But your team is coming off 2 straight tournament victories. And I guess the question is, with all of that and all this pressure and these expectations, would you be happy with anything short of a 3rd straight win?
Would I be happy with anything short of 3rd straight win? No. Absolutely not. I mean, there's only one thing in mind. We're going to this tournament we're going to, our goal is to win the World Cup. There's no question about it. And I don't think that anyone on our team thinks anything different. The first thing is we want to win the World Cup, but obviously there are other things that come along with that, whether it's preparing the team for the next one, refreshing the team. And we have 14 players that we believe are going to be ready, that are ready not just to win this World Cup, but they're going to be ready to win the Olympics and the next World Cup and so on. Going back to the original question, no, I will not be happy with that.
Thank you.
And with that, we will let Vlatko go as the players are ready to go. Thank you, Vlatko, for your time.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your support for everything. Thank you.
All right, we're just going to reset here, and we'll get the players up. Oh, I've been asked by our tech guys, between pressers, can we ask media to kill their wireless mics if they don't need them? Specifically need to stay off the 520 frequency range.
Okay, so just.
We're here. One mic again? Okay. Sorry about that. Me and Vlog were just chatting outside.
He was just chatting in here. Yeah.
All right, we still only have one mic, so be patient. Listen, these players need no introduction, but I'm going to introduce them anyway. Of course, we have forward Megan Rapinoe, forward Alex Morgan, midfielder Lindsey Horan. Congrats on your new contract with Lyon, just signed. All right, so let's get to questions for the players. Once again, we have one mic, so we'll move it as quickly as we can. We'll go with Kevin up front here real quick. Yep.
Kevin Baxter, LA Times. Thanks for your time, guys. Megan, the hair is spectacular. And this question is for you, although anybody wants to jump in, this is great. With the new funding setup that FIFA has, where more money for players, I know it's not where you want to go, but you guys have been pushing toward this spot for a long time. Players from other teams tell me what they like is the housing and the transportation. You know, they all get their own rooms. They travel on charter flights now. Isn't that an even bigger thing, showing that you're having some effect? And Alex, you're nodding your head. You can answer too. Thank you.
Sure, I'll take that. Yeah, I think it just shows how far the game has come, and obviously we still have a ways to go, but FIFPro and players individually and together also, the teams have been fighting for this, fighting for more equal prize money, narrowing the gap that still exists between the men's and women's prize money, but also just looking at the amount of rooms that we have, the charter flights, travel and accommodations, that's been equalized between the men's and the women's tournaments, which is fantastic. FIFA has actually done, surprisingly, coming out of my mouth, a very good job at increasing the prize money. We still have a ways to go, but having them direct payments to the players is huge. I mean, it's a life-changing thing for some of these players entering the tournament. So coming away with each player making at least $30,000 is huge, because a lot of federations, usually that money goes to federations, and those players don't see any or much of that money. With U.S. Soccer, we have in our contract equal prize money between the men and the women, which is a shared pot, and that's the only federation in the world that does that. So we're very happy that we fought for that and we're able to attain that. Now it's up to FIFA and the other federations to do their part, and I'm very pleased to see what FIFA has done, and I look forward to seeing more good news along the way, this World Cup and in future World Cups, as we narrow and eventually equalize the prize money.
Thanks, Al. Hold on, I gotta fix Megan's thing here. We can't have a droopy Megan.
I don't need a name tag. I think we know who Megan Rapinoe is.
Y'all know who I am.
Just in case someone in the back didn't know. All right, let's go to Martin. Oh, and real quick, direct your question to a player, if you would. If you don't, say anyone can pick up and they'll decide. Okay, go ahead.
Martin Rogers, Fox Sports. Question for Alex. 4 years ago in your first game, the team racked up a very comfortable and comprehensive victory, and there was some, I don't know how to describe it, maybe ill-informed discussion from the public as to...
By yourself?
Yeah.
As to whether you guys should have...
Somebody drummed it up.
As to whether you guys should have run up the score and whether there was any disrespect in terms of celebrating goals and so on. My question is, if a similar situation arose again, would there be any hesitation in showing a similar level of ruthlessness, competitiveness, whatever you want to call it?
I think looking at this tournament and the games that we're going to be playing, you can't compare our match against Thailand to any upcoming games. That tournament we started off with a bang, and we're hopeful and optimistic in this tournament doing, being able to be successful. That's what we've worked so hard towards the last 4 years. And we have incredible respect for Vietnam. A lot of us tuned into their game against Germany. They have an upcoming game against New Zealand, again, coming up. So they're an incredibly organized team, and we can't overlook our first match of the tournament.
Let's go to Nancy. Did you have one? Or go to Ann? Just go down that row.
Nancy Armour, USA Today Sports. Lindsey, Vlatko talked about how he has given you more responsibilities, or you've had more responsibilities as a leader since the trip to Australia, and I think it was 2021. Can you just talk about how your leadership has evolved, and especially with Becky being out, how does it change or give you even more responsibilities during this tournament?
Yeah, well, one thing, I'm so sad for Becky. She was a huge role model for me, and someone that took me under her wing and helped me in this leadership role. But I also have these two next to me that have really helped me come into my own. I think my leadership role has changed a huge amount on the field, and I've worked on more and more off the field. And again, like I said, I get to learn from these two. And I think going into the major tournament like this, it's like doing my thing, who I am as a leader, and not changing any bit just because we unfortunately lost Becky. I'm going to be the same Lindsey that I've always been, but do whatever I possibly can to help this team lift this trophy at the end of the day and help the young ones that we have and a lot of the newer players that have never been here.
Pass it down the row there. Yeah, you're good.
Taylor Vincent, Equalizer. Megan, talking about all the money changes, how does the accommodation stuff, like the flights and like an extra long base camp, how does that help you as a player translate onto the pitch?
I mean, I think it's huge for players. I think even just like, zooming way out and looking at the landscape right now around women's football, I kind of think that a lot of the injuries that we're seeing is due to the increase in schedule, and obviously we're playing a lot more games, we're traveling a lot more with like a fraction of the resources that we really need to have to perform at the highest level. Being an elite athlete, you're kind of always on the razor's edge. That's just sort of the name of the game, but having charter flights, having the best hotels, having all the recovery resources, having the money to provide that for players, obviously all the medical teams and everything gives us the best opportunity to not only like perform at our best, but like keep up with the level on the field, which just seems to be increasing, year over year. So I think, we're obviously fortunate to have that, and we've fought a lot for that over the years, and to have that for every team in the tournament, and to be able to provide an environment that allows for teams to reach their full potential, like that's what it's all about. That gives you the best performance, that gives you the best tournament, the best moments, players being able to really go out there and shine and do what everybody wants them to do, which is put on the best show possible. So I think all those things are incredibly important, just as important as many of the other things that we fight for. So to see a lot of that equalized, and a lot of the, just the general conditions around teams increased, and being resourced in a way that is, on par and level with their talent level on the field, is amazing to see. Obviously, there's a long way to go in a lot of different areas. But like Alex was saying, we've made, tremendous strides in our game, and, we'll continue to do that. But for that reason, I think this is going to be, just as every World Cup is, the best World Cup by far. You're going to see the best product on the field, and that's because players are going to be able to be put in a position to actually do that and just focus on the game and go out there and provide the entertainment everybody wants.
We're going to go to Ann, then Henry. Go ahead, Ann.
This is for Megan. Ann Killian with the San Francisco Chronicle. Hi, Megan. 4 years ago, you talked about being on a razor's edge. The team was kind of on a razor's edge. You guys were in a fight with the Federation. You ended up in a fight with one of the most powerful humans on earth. Just what is the ostensibly what's the difference? What's the difference in feel? And is there a difference in the feel of being on a razor's edge or being, really with a target on your backs this time?
Oh, still, you didn't see it when we walked in? Still there. Always there. Yeah, it's obviously a little bit different, but the vibe is still the same. The vibe's been the same since, 100 years ago. Obviously, just wanting to constantly strive for whatever the next thing is. This is not a team that does any sort of resting on its laurels. It's always about, the next game, the next, part of, progress we can make, the next thing that we can fight for, where we can use our platform, and how we continue on the field to be the absolute best team that we possibly can. I think being, one of the best teams in the world, obviously we have number one rankings, so you can say we're the best, but I'll just say one of the best because there's amazing teams out there. You're always on that razor's edge, and certainly around a World Cup, there's so much to fight for. I mean, I think sometimes what not gets lost about this team, but because we do so much off the field, the on-field is like, that's the most important thing, and that's what has been the fuel to this team always, is to strive to be the very best, to try to win every single game, whether it's in, practice or actually on the field. So for us, I think it's just about continuing to put our best foot forward and continuing to try to be dominant and be the best team in the world. And it's like the World Cup. I mean, I can't believe we're back at the World Cup again. It's kind of crazy. This is the best moment, like, of all of our career. Alex said it, it's like it never gets old. There's always something incredibly special about being able to compete at the very highest level against the very highest level and try to go out there and do your thing. So we're constantly standing on razor's edge in, women's sports just in general, and this year's no different. I think everybody's looking forward to once again, putting on the best show that we possibly can.
Henry Bushnell from Yahoo Sports over here. Alex, I got a two-parter for you. After your last game with San Diego, you spoke about all the strides that have been made for mom athletes over the years. Do you have any sense what it would be like to do what you're doing now before all of those strides and without all the support and accommodations that have been bargained for over the past 2-3 decades? And the second part, what are Charlie's World Cup plans?
I'm really grateful for the women before me that fought for mom athletes. I mean, Joy Fawcett was the OG in that, and she had way less resources and support, and was able to somehow become world champion and do many great things to create the legacy she has today. But in the position I am in today, I have fought hard for female athletes to get the support and resources needed to be able to continue to stay on top of our game after having children. And that's just looking at the amount of moms that we have on the team that we had last camp. We had 5 moms on the team. We have 3 on the roster going to the World Cup. I think that's the most that we've ever had, and that's a testament to the support that we've gotten from this team, the federation, from the NWSL, from our sponsors. It's not the case around the world, and we're trying to make a stand for it and show that the amount of support that you get is necessary in order for us to compete at the highest level. I mean, it's similar to some of the players who are new on the team now are never going to experience inequalities within as a professional athlete under U.S. Soccer. And we actually just got our first settlement check in the mail a week ago. And Naomi was joking that she didn't get one, and I was like, be grateful you don't. You just get equal. So
you weren't here, no.
Yeah. So, just going back to the mom athletes, it's it's incredible the kind of the journey we've got. I've been through and where we've gotten to today, but there is still a long way to go. And you ask about what Charlie's plans are for the World Cup. We're still actually figuring out what hotels she's staying at. What does she go on the bus with the team or with the friends and family? What flights can she go on? It's still kind of uncharted territory. So we're still trying to break down some barriers that currently exist. But she'll be going for most of the tournament.
And I bet she has some good outfits ready to go.
Yeah, she really wants to go swimming all day, every day. I have to break it to her that it's winter there. Yeah, it'll be a surprise.
Who do we got next? Goffer? Go ahead.
Hey, Megan, Steve Goff from the Washington Post. Just wanted to check on your injury, where things stand, how you see it progressing, and how you foresee it a few weeks from now for the start of the tournament.
Yeah, injury's going really well. It was quite minor. Not amazing timing, but such is life of an athlete. So it's nothing that I'm worried about for the start of the tournament. We obviously it feels like it's here right now because we're doing all this and coming into camp, but we have a little bit of time, and we'll have quite a bit of time down in New Zealand before we actually get going. So yeah, I'm feeling good. Training's going well, and looking forward to getting back out there.
Go ahead.
Hi, Megan. Amna Nawaz from the PBS NewsHour. Can I ask more broadly, just in terms of interest in the women's game here in the U.S.? As you know, it's grown exponentially over the course of your career, and that's been hard-fought, hard-earned on the back of a lot of incredible success. But this World Cup represents a chance for millions of more people, right, to be aware of the team, join the other legions of fans. I wonder if you could kind of reflect on this moment for women's soccer in the United States in terms of what's at stake in this tournament and for the years ahead. And then just a quickie for Alex, if you don't mind. My boss, my 7-year-old Lena, who wears your jersey at home, wants me to ask you, why are you so awesome?
Do you want to go first? Is that okay?
Where do we start?
Yeah, here we go. No, thank you so much. And it's because of
these girls beside me, we all lift each other up. So.
But for the real question.
Yeah,
the real question. This one does feel different than other World Cups. I think just in general, the sort of like zoom out picture around women's sports right now feels like we're sort of out of the just like the dogged fight phase. Not that there's not a lot still to fight for, but the sort of acceptable cognitive dissonance and just denial of what we actually are and how incredible women's sports are, how popular it is, how profitable we can be, what the business actually is. I think those days are pretty much long gone, and that would be quite a tough and embarrassing position to still keep. So I think this World Cup feels almost like a show up and show out kind of vibe. I think it's going to be incredible. I said before, I think that this World Cup is going to be incredible. Having it being co-hosted by Australia and New Zealand, huge sporting countries. We've seen the numbers around ticket sales, just the quality on the pitch, better than it ever has been. It feels like this is like a real opportunity for us. Actually, let me rephrase that. We've always taken the opportunity to show exactly who we are, not just our team, but the women's game in general. But it feels like a real opportunity to kind of like blow the lid off just in terms of fanfare and media and sponsorships and the sort of larger business around this sport. I think everyone is sort of hip to the game now and understands that this is, not somewhere that's just like, oh, we should cheer for the Women's World Cup because that's the right thing to do. It's like, this is actually a terrible business move if you're not getting in on it, if you're not investing, if you're not putting resources to it, and if you're not tuning in, you're sort of missing out on a massive cultural moment in so many ways. And I think, as always with women's sports, like we're always doing both. And I think that's something that we're really proud of, and I think something that just totally differentiates us from a fan base perspective than any sort of men's sports, but I think also from a business perspective. I think we know that for bottom line, equality is actually good in a shocking turn of events. Equality is actually good for business, and I think that that's something special that the women's game has, and this feels like the sort of premier event. I mean, it's the biggest women's sporting event in the world by far, bar none, as I've said. And I think that this is a real opportunity of sort of like a kind of paradigm shift globally. I mean, I think we're having it a lot in the U.S., but I think just globally, you've seen what's happened since last World Cup, whether it's stadiums selling out or the Women's Final Four or, Cricket League in India. Like there's so many examples of this, and it feels like this is like a paradigm shift or a moment we'll look back to and say like nothing was ever the same after this Women's World Cup and what we're going to be able to do. And all bets on the Women's World Cup. Money's in on that. I just think it's going to be an incredible event. And as you said, it is hard fought and hard won by us, by our players and our Players Association and our federation. Being on the right side of things now, but also to all the other teams and all the other vested interests happening in the Women's World Cup. I think everybody is thankfully pushing in the right direction and pushing in the same direction now, and sky's the limit from here.
Ann Peterson up front.
Hi, Annie Peterson from the Associated Press. Megan, just an aside, congratulations, Lindsey, on getting engaged. That's wonderful. Megan, along those same lines, we have seen Jamaica have some issues in terms of funding and preparation and payment. Canada also has revealed that they're having issues. How disheartening is it for you guys to see this ongoing, these things still happening in the global game?
Yeah, I mean, it's infuriating, to be honest. Obviously, a lot of us play with the Canadian players, so we sort of saw up front, what it was like for them to go through what they went through earlier in the year and continue to. I think this is where FIFA needs to do more, and I think it's right for Alex to congratulate them and to work with them and to say, yeah, you've done a lot, but your power goes beyond that. To mandate that these federations support their teams the way that they would support everybody for the men's World Cup or any other teams. So I think that's where we still have a long ways to go. Some countries are not as far progressed as we are, even just in attitudes and socially and, what's acceptable and what the standards and sort of the norms are in those countries. So we have to understand that as well. I mean, of course, you guys know I'd want progress like that, but it doesn't work like that. So I think, FIFA Pro's doing an amazing job of being that voice and being that advocate for players. I think obviously all of the teams are using their voices a lot more. It's like we know about these things because players are talking about it, and even when they're subjected to the kind of discrimination and unequal treatment, they're still speaking out. They're still using their voice. That's really important. I think other federations are continuing to do that, whether for themselves or advocating for other teams. But yeah, it's so infuriating. It just doesn't have to be like this. These are just choices that people are making, so that's frustrating. But I do think it's getting better. I do think that conditions are improving. I think that there's a lot more resources that these teams can tap into. Like I said, whether there's FIFA Pro or just support from other teams to continue to push forward and try to make things as good as possible at all times.
Juliet, go ahead.
Hi, Juliet McCurr with the New York Times. So Vlatko talked a lot about how he will rely on you three for your leadership at the World Cup, having been there before, and just your experience. I was wondering if we could just take a step back and kind of define what that means. What does it mean to be a leader? Maybe, Lindsey, you can address this. What did Becky tell you when you were just a kid? Specifically, what did she tell you to help you transition? And what do you tell players now? What does it mean to be a leader in terms of description of what does a leader do?
She's going all the way back to the beginning with Becky. I don't think she necessarily said anything to me along those lines, but it was more, Becky leads by example. Her voice, it isn't always out there, but anytime she does speak, it, makes people listen. What she says is so important, and yeah, you're like, yeah, Becky's right. Anything she says, she's right. I always, whenever I was in this environment or in Portland, I was like, if I have a question, if I need advice, I'm going to Becky. She's my first call or my first text, and what she does in the field and what she did for me in Portland, it was just like, I'm going to follow her lead, and I want to be that type of role model for the young ones coming up and the new players here. So I think for me, as coming into my role and being a leader, I want to be my own type of leader. I think we all have different variations of that, and I get, like I said before, to learn from these two and everything they've done, obviously before this World Cup and before my time here, but also make sure I have that role that I can fill in this team as well, and my voice and what I do on the field, and just trying to be the best role model and a voice for these young players coming in, and anytime they need advice or questions or whatever. I think I got a call from Alyssa asking me what to pack for this trip, which was the best phone call ever. She wanted to know the essentials for packing for the World Cup, and I had no idea what to tell her, but it was so cute, and it was, everything. Pino's got
That's
4
Pino
bags, so yeah.
Bring it all.
But yeah, it's and I think the one thing Becky did tell me when I texted her for her injury, she just said, appreciate this moment. Appreciate wearing the captain's armband if I get the chance, appreciate being able to lead this team and take in every single bit of that, because it does not come around a lot, and you being able to have this role, it's the most incredible thing in the world. You get to have this role on, the best team in the world, one of the best teams in the world, so yeah, that's probably the advice that I will take from Bex.
I think a question on our 3 leaders here and an homage to Becky is a good way to end this portion. So escorts, come take your players to their next thing. If you are sitting at one of the roundtables, please vacate immediately. And then we'll start with player roundtables in about 8 minutes. Thank you.